folks, to Scentwork Sunday. This is going to be an added feature to our channel where once or twice a month we take questions submitted from viewers like you and cover a wide variety of topics related to scent work. Now today we're going to start off with a topic submitted by a longtime follower, somebody I've actually had the pleasure of judging a couple times at events, AKC and CPE. They've got some trial experience, however they have a new dog. Matter of fact, I'm actually going to be teaching a workshop this afternoon and they will be there. But they did ask, hey, how can I overcome fear? And that's today's topic on Scentwork Sunday, overcoming fear. Now, the message read basically is this. You know, I didn't get nervous in the past. However, I have this new dog and we have failed our ORT 4 times, specifically Birch. I know my dog understands what it's looking for, but I am scared of failing again. Well, long story short, I never look at failing as failure. We're going to get into that, but I'm going to talk about how I overcome my fears, because me personally, I'm a nervous trialer. You've heard me speak about it multiple times. We'll talk about a little bit of trial prep, and then we're going to talk about how to actually overcome fear. Now, the first thing I like to do is identify your fear itself. So in this person's case, it's fear of failing the ORT. Once we understand what we are afraid of, then it's easier to put together a program to adapt and overcome. So we're going to start right there with fear of failing the ORT, specifically Birch. So we've identified her fear. Her fear is failing the ORT or not passing the ORT. We're not going to use failure anymore because it's just a sitback. So we'll refer to it now as a sitback. So how do I overcome this sitback? Well, I'm going to create goals, and these are going to be training goals. These are going to be goals that I use to help me achieve the end game. So I'm a big believer in utilizing accountability. So what do you mean by accountability, and how do we hold ourselves accountable? Well, very simple. We write our goals out. A few years ago, I read a book by a man named David Goggins. Since then, this guy has changed thousands of lives, and one of the things he brought up was an accountability mirror. I love my accountability mirror. I know I'm going to look in the mirror daily. However, I'm also a big fan of dry erase boards. I'll put a dry erase board in the training building, in the kennel building, and have all the goals lined out for everybody daily and weekly. Maybe you just write it in a notebook. I write mine in a notebook and on my mirror. The more I think about it, the more I work towards it, the better I'm going to be. This is also a time where I bring in my training log. My log's going to actually help me achieve my goal. Now, I will put on Facebook a free training log. I've mentioned in the past, we had one on the Patreon page that we took down. Now, folks, here's a little story. We may be bringing Patreon back because some of you viewers have said that you have a hard time logging into YouTube membership section. So maybe bringing Patreon back, not quite sure. I do know this, the more members we get, we are just 50 members away from giving away a free workshop. That's right. 50 more members, we're going to give away a free workshop. So join that membership, give us a like and subscribe. So let's look at our goals. Daily, weekly, monthly. I'm going to write this on my board in my training building. I'm going to write this on paper. I'm going to put it on my accountability mirror. But I'm also going to go back to my log. My log is a vital part of achieving my success. For instance, what's going on with my dog that is struggling with Birch in the ORT setup? Now, one thing you see me doing all the time is wearing hats. Folks, until I started doing scent work, I wasn't a hat wearer. However, I wear them just to get comfortable and used to them, because I will wear a hat with a GoPro during a trial, and I will go back and do a debrief with my mentors on what I did wrong and what I can do to improve my performance. And that all goes in my logbook. In my logbook, I can reflect back on how last week's training go, how the trial go, and for this instance, she could look back, we could talk about it, and then realize, hey, look, with this, let's just go back to the foundational practices. Let's start using the base. let's build value to the odor. We did talk briefly about how she got her dog started in nose work. It was a system that didn't build value to odor from the beginning. So there's a little bit of confusion with the dog. So we're going to clear up that. We're going to get a better communication with the dog, and we're going to utilize our system to get results. Now, once we've identified the problem, we started creating goals. We're going to talk about timelines. You know, how many times a week am I going to train? How am I going to do this? And then at what point are we going to start? Me personally, before I go to a trial, I like to throw in trial prep. And we're going to talk about that. How do I prep for the trial? Because this is part of my goals too. Now, what I like to do until about 4 weeks out is all my hides in training are known hides, especially with the people that train with me. I want my students to learn how to read their dogs. And about a month out, I start putting out blind hides so they don't know. Then about 2 weeks out from a trial, I want to make sure things are squared away. Now, the most important thing to remember probably of all of this is just because you receive that dreaded NQ doesn't mean it's a failure. It's a setback. It's a learning experience. Learn from this experience and go on to lots of trials and lots of fun with your dog. Because at the end of the day, being a super sniffer is probably one of the most fun activities we can do with our dog. Until then, like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.